What's up everyone? In this episode of Project No Secrets, we take our R33 to AGI to get a new roll cage installed. Now, if you've been watching our previous episodes, you know that we removed a weld-in roll cage out of the car, and now we're going to be replacing it with a bolt-in cage. Why, you ask? Well, pretty simple. The weld-in cage was junk, absolute rubbish. The welds were terrible, the design was terrible, the fitment was terrible, and it doesn't pass spec anymore for any type of racing that we might want to do with the car. So why did we put a bolt-in cage instead of a weld-in cage? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Firstly, you can remove it, which means you can get the car registered and any future owner can have it as a street car if they don't want to have a cage in it. And secondly, it's customizable. So we're going to be getting a full national level cage in the car with door bars, but you can remove just the door bars if you like for street duties, or you can remove the entire front section and just keep a half cage for street duties if you want to. So the bolt-in cage suits us really well. Now, with modern technology and design and the quality of AGI products, a lot of these bolt-in cages are just as safe as a welding cage when it comes to an accident. They meet specifications all the way up to CAM's national level racing, and you can even have them in a tarmac rally car or rally car for off-road rally and tarmac rally events. And trust me, they need to be very safe to put up with the type of accidents they have. So if it's good enough for that, it's good enough for our car.
I'm a race car mechanic by trade. I moved to England when I was 23. I worked my way up through motor racing over there, worked in Formula One. I was a Grand Prix mechanic for many years and travelled the world for over a decade. Started AGI in 2009. There was an opportunity to work on a movie, which was Mad Max 4 Fury Road. We got the deal to supply over 100 roll cages for all the vehicles, cars and trucks. Yeah, we spent 9 months building all that safety gear and safety equipment, roll cages, harnesses, race seats, for over 100 vehicles. So it was a great opportunity. And it's what started AGI. I noticed there was a hole in the market, particularly for bolt-in roll cages in Australia. So we grew it from there 11 years ago. There's many benefits of a bolt-in roll cage, and they include the fact that we can make it for you, send it anywhere around the world. So yeah, we ship interstate every day of the week, and we now ship weekly, to North America, to Europe. So if it was a welding cage, we wouldn't be able to do that. But it also allows our clients to install it themselves, or their workshops. So we provide a quite lengthy and detailed installation guide, so that allows our clients and their workshops to install these products. Where if it was a welding cage, you're very limited. We would have to do it here. So my client base then is a lot smaller. But also we have a lot of clients with tarmac rally cars, for example, that may not want to put a weld-in roll cage in a brand new R35 or a Porsche or whatever it may be. So it allows the client to have the roll cage installed. They can do the whatever competition it may be, do the event, have the fun, remove the cage, sell the car, sell the cage. It just allows a lot more freedoms like that. Bolt-in cages have come a long way in the last 15 to 20 years. Now CAMs, they align themselves with the FIA, so particularly our national level cages, they're basically the FIA cage. Particularly sports cars, as they become more advanced with greater technology involved. You've got high strength alloys, you've got deals that can't be welded to, you've got carbon fibre chassis. So bolt-ins become the only thing you can do in that circumstance. We use CAMs and FIA guidelines to mount the roll cage to the chassis. So the attachment points, the areas would be the same for a weld-in. So you've got an upper plate and a lower plate with 3 high tensile fasteners, and this is per mount. So you've got some substantial mounting points there to fit a bolt-in roll cage to. The minimum requirements for a Motorsport Australia or an FIA cage would be a 3mm plate upper and lower with M8 bolts. So we actually over-engineer it. We use 5mm plate and we use M10 bolts. So yeah, we over-engineer every contact point for that bolt-in roll cage. If we had a brand new vehicle come in and we need to design a bolt-in roll cage for that, we'd start with actually a prototype in the vehicle. So we'd start with the main hoop. We'd select a substantial area of the vehicle floor that we could put some mounting plates to. We'd create a hoop for it, then we'd develop the back end, backstays down to something substantial there as well, front legs, windscreen horizontal bar, sort of grow it like that. And once we know we're confident with that design, based on the rule book, now all our guys here are pretty fluent in the rule book. There's about 14 pages for the CAMS rule book that we're pretty confident with these days. We based it on the rule book, we'll take it out of the vehicle, we'll put it on a jig, and we'll start making jig brackets to it so we can basically repeat the process. Now once we're happy with the first design, we'll prep and paint one, reinstall it in the car, take plenty of photos, CAD drawings, and make it available to the client. When we're developing a new product, we like to do the national cage first, which is the one with the most amount of bar work. So that's a 6-point roll cage with plenty of diagonals. So double diagonals through the hoop, through the backstay, through the roof section, windscreen pillar bars, double door bars, so it's got plenty of bar work in it. And from that we can then offer any of the lower specs, starting with a half cage through to a basic 6-point, a state level 6-point with single door bars, double door bars, then a national cage with single door bars and double door bars. So there's plenty of combinations there. Yeah, we cater for everything from a half cage for your track day weekend guy all the way through to racing at Bathurst. So the cage we've provided for the R33 GTR out in the workshop, that is a national level cage with single door bars. So that will allow not only state level door-to-door car racing, but actually a national level competition. So you could also race at Bathurst with that, which is the premier circuit in this country for sure. We could upgrade that cage to a double door bar to do tarmac rally. But the way it is right now, Andra, which is the sanctioning body of drag racing in this country, or one of them, they will allow you to go to 8.0, with that bolt-in cage in the GTR. Every few years, the rules get upgraded, so we need to meet that new set of regulations. Now, for 1st of Jan 2020, we had to introduce gussets. So gussets to any double diagonal member. So you've got that in a state level cage and national cage through the main hoop. You might have diagonals at a roof level in the back. We now have to provide gussets between the windscreen pillar bar and the door bar. Now, the windscreen pillar bar, as I mentioned earlier, it's probably got more regulations on that particular bar than any other bar in the cage. From a side view, it must be straight. From a rear view, we're allowed one bend up to 20 degrees. And we now have to gusset that to the door bar. We base all our roll cages off a set of regulations. We have to fit a roll cage in that vehicle to meet the regulations, but we also have to cater to an extent to what our clients want. So for instance, in the R33, you wanted the door trims to remain untouched and the functionality of all the buttons. So our bar work has to miss all that, has to get inside the door trim, but also clear the steering wheel. We'll offer multiple options. So we have a no roof lining R33 cage, we have a roof lining fitted, and we have a sunroof version, and they're 3 different roll cages. The 33 that turned up here was unique. Apparently it's had 4 roll cages prior to this, so I don't think we've ever seen that in the past. Normally a client will bring a vehicle here for us to develop a product for, and it's the very first time a roll cage has been fitted to it. And we felt it needed a little bit more work, strengthening up the floor, so our engineer here designed and plasma cut out some plate steel to strengthen the floor around the areas where the cage needed to be bolted down to. So the US market is obviously a very big one for most makes and models, including the GTR models. So we've been selling product over there for a number of years, and most recently we've started to set up a workshop in Virginia on the East Coast. Now they've got many governing bodies of motorsport over there. In drag racing you've got NHRA, IHRA. In circuit racing you've got SCCA and NASA. So we've been developing product to try and meet their needs, which is a little bit different to what we've done here, but mostly the bar work is the same, but just a few bars here and there. We've got multiple options of connecting roll cage members together. We have the traditional sleeve type, which we've been using for many, many years, and it's very popular here in Australia. We also offer a Cnc Machine Connector for more of our high-end builds, whether it's an R35 or the latest Mercedes or BMW. For the US market, we normally utilise the Cnc Machine Connector. They're after a bit more of the look compared to our local clients here. So whereas the CNC Machine Connector does look very pretty, and it's a very flush finish. We're big believers in safety, of course, and we feel that any time you go on a racetrack, you know, at least a half cage is definitely recommended by us to keep that roof above their head if it does roll over. And when you go to door-to-door car racing, you obviously need a 6-point then, so we highly recommend, you know, roll cages and roll bars as one of the first, you know, modifications to a vehicle when you take it on the racetrack. The bolt-in option just allows street guys, you know, to install it, to remove it at any point, so you've got that sort of functionality there where you can fit it, reinstall it. That's one of the great benefits of a bolt-in product, is you can remove it at any point.
So there you have it, our new roll cage is installed in Project No Secrets. Now next up, we've got some chassis repairs to do, some dummy fabrication. Once that's done, we essentially have to strip everything back out of the car so it can go off and get soda or sandblasted. Now after we installed the cage and did our interview with Adam, we had a pretty cool chat about the Mad Max 4 cars that he built that started his business. And as I was flicking through the photos, something pretty cool came up, but not cool at the same time. It was an R32 GTR fitted up with off-road tyres, a giant rear wing on it, and obviously one of their roll cages in it. I was like, what the hell is that? And he goes, that's an R32 GTR we did for the show. I'm like, why the hell was there an R32 GTR in Mad Max 4 and I didn't know about it? He goes, well, here's the funny story. So the producers and directors of Mad Max Fury Road are hot rodders and old school, and they said they wanted to put one modern Fast and Furious generation car into the movie and then destroy it. I don't know why they picked an R32 GTR, but that's what they got. But obviously back in the late 2000s, you could pick up an uncomplied, unregistered 32 GTR pretty cheap. But it was a perfectly running car. They put a wing on it and all sorts of other crazy stuff, cage in it, big off-road tyres. And the plan was, according to the producers, when they blew up the rocks in the chase scene through the mountains, it was going to get crushed straight away. And if you pause in the video, you can see it's the first car to drive through, but the rocks must have missed it, or they decided not to do it, because the car shows up in one frame, this one on screen right now, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you'd never notice it. So I don't know what it is about our R33 GTR. Either it's got another crazy story each episode, or someone else has got some crazy story that's working on it, and that's this episode's crazy story, and that is the guys from AGI put an R32 GTR into Mad Max 4.